Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, I'm going to put the article in the description box for you guys. Go have a read for yourself, or head over to IFL TV here on YouTube and go watch the interview with Dillian Whyte. And I'm doing the article one because specifically for this video, I want to talk about Dillian Whyte, Luis Ortiz and Alexander Povetkin. These are the two guys that most people would love to see Dillian Whyte fight. Okay, with Luis Ortiz being number one. Now, we know for a long time the Deontay Wilder fans are saying that Dillian Whyte should fight Luis Ortiz. He should earn his title shot with Deontay Wilder, which is absolutely crazy, considering that Deontay Wilder fought Jason Gavin, who had 16 losses on his record before he got a world title fight. But Dillian Whyte had to go fight Luis Ortiz, Joseph Parker, Lucas Brown, Derek Chisora, you name it. You see, Dillian Whyte had to jump through all kinds of hoops. But that aside, Dillian Whyte confirmed what I said to you guys quite some time now, that he has offered Luis Ortiz big money to come fight him. He's been chasing him now for 2-3 years. Okay, and the latest offer was $2 million to fight Dillian Whyte at the O2 Arena in a headliner on July the 13th. Luis Ortiz is saying no, doesn't want $2 million. Bearing in mind, Luis Ortiz's highest payday was $500,000 when he fought Deontay Wilder. Okay, but he wants to turn that down. And again, people, the Wilder fanatics, will say, well, Dillian Whyte, he ducked Luis Ortiz. This is what they do. That, you know, everyone ducked whoever. Okay, nobody's ducking Luis Ortiz. Dillian Whyte has a far superior resume, has beaten fighters who could legitimately beat Luis Ortiz in Joseph Parker, and Derek Chisora could definitely beat him as well. But all that aside, they go on with the whole narrative how Dillian Whyte turned down a fight with Luis Ortiz when WBC offered him the secondary mandatory. Well, they don't tell you secondary mandatory, they say mandatory. This is how clueless they are, or how much liars that they are, the Wilder fanatics. Okay, because it was the secondary mandatory, which meant 1 year to 18 months after Wilder fought Brazil. Whenever that was going to be. We know what it is now, but at the time we didn't know when it was Wilder was going to fight Brazil. But it would be 1 year to 18 months after Wilder fights Brazil. That's secondary mandatory. Okay, so Dillian Whyte took a much tougher fight and for a hell of a lot more money in Joseph Parker. But Luis Ortiz wasn't jumping up and down about wanting that fight. And in fact, when Dillian Whyte was looking to take on Derek Chisora in a rematch, they reached out to Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz said, come fight me on the Wilder Fury undercard. He didn't want to come to London and fight in a headliner for big money. He wanted to fight on Wilder Fury undercard for what, 50 grand, maybe 100 grand? Listen, if Luis Ortiz is happy to be an undercard fighter, crack on, okay? But either way, Luis Ortiz has been turning down huge offers from Dillian Whyte. He could have fought him instead of Derek Chisora fighting him, but didn't want to do it. Anyway, so Dillian Whyte's statement here around Luis Ortiz, as I said, I'll put the article in the description box, or just go over to IFL TV and watch the entire interview. Anyway, this is what Dillian Whyte told IFL TV. Luis Ortiz and Alexander Povetkin, those are the fights we're looking at. Those are the fights we're trying to get. But those guys want too much money. These guys are trying to get the same money they'd get to fight Joshua, to fight me. Ortiz made $500,000 to fight Deontay Wilder. We offered him £2 million to fight. That's Luis Ortiz. I've offered Ortiz the fight 3 times. He didn't want it. Povetkin agreed to fight me, then changed his mind and didn't want it. What can I do? I keep trying to fight these guys. These guys know that I'm a problem. As far as I know, as Eddie Hearn has said, he's made some offers on social media and in public. Eddie's showing he's made offers to Wilder and other guys. Listen, Eddie's a good promoter. Sometimes he's put in a difficult position where he can't deliver what I want him to because he's got certain people's best interest at hand. But it is what it is. He's making offers, sending us them on the email chain and stuff, but a lot of guys just don't want to fight me. I'm not going to say I'm the best boxer in the world, I'm the strongest, I'm the fastest, but you'll find it hard to find a boxer who has got more drive, more courage and a bigger heart than me. On July 13th, live at the O2, I'll be headlining, but I don't know who yet. Eddie's reckoning something should be happening in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully. Time is ticking. We need to put out a prey to the hunt. I need a prey lined up so I can begin the hunt. Listen, I'm training, we're ticking over, we're smiling, and we're happy. There's lots of ups and downs in this game, but to be a true professional, you've got to deal with them as they come and stay positive. I've been swimming against the waves for forever now, and I'm still swimming. I'm going to have the biggest back soon, as I've been swimming against the waves for so long now. This is how my career's been. When's the last time I've had a fight announced more than 7 weeks? It is what it is. I'll try to be professional, train as hard as I can. I'm still so inexperienced. There's lots of improvement. I need to make technically, physically and mentally as well. I'll just say to Eddie, get someone as soon as you can. He says, but these guys want too much money. These guys are scared to fight. These guys are this and that. Dillian Whyte statement. So as you can see, he offered Luis Ortiz £2 million. Bearing in mind, Luis Ortiz highest paid was $500,000. So convert £2 million to dollars, you're talking what, 2.6 million dollars. So he'd offered him 4-5 times even his highest ever payday, and Luis Ortiz is saying no, he doesn't want the fight. I mean, how much money does Luis Ortiz want? And he's right what he says, and a lot of this is Eddie Hearn's fault, and I've said this before. Well, I say his fault. Eddie Hearn talks about money a lot and how much money these fighters are making. We've got DAZN, we've got $1 billion, and Josh was making this per fight and blah, blah, blah. And Dillian Whyte is making some serious money, as Eddie Hearn has quite plainly said on quite a few occasions. So a lot of people think, right, okay, then I want some of that money. And ultimately the fights can't happen because Dillian Whyte is not Anthony Joshua. Okay, at the minute, Joshua has got 3 of the 4 main belts, and he is the one who's selling out stadiums, all that kind of thing. He's the one who's been promoted correctly, and of course, he's been living up to all that as well, so big props to AJ. Oh, by the way, happy birthday to Dillian as well. I did message him earlier on. I sent him a text message from all of you guys to wish him happy birthday. Now, the Wilder fans, all they want to talk about is Luis Ortiz. Why? Because that's the biggest name and the best win on Deontay Wilder's 41-fight career, which is disgusting, considering that Luis Ortiz was failing the medical 1 hour before the ring walk. But they don't want to talk about the fact that the WBC offered Dillian Whyte secondary manager, which is no good for anyone. They don't talk about the fact that Luis Ortiz turned down these fights. They always want to try and spin it like Dillian Whyte has been ducking Ortiz. Dillian Whyte tried to get Luis Ortiz when Luis Ortiz was with Matchroom. Instead, Ortiz, he wanted to fight Malik Scott, went the distance with him. And then he wanted to fight Dave Allen, who Dillian Whyte had already defeated. Nearly went the distance with him. 1 more second, and he would have been in the final round. Luis Ortiz, whose biggest win is a 45, 46-year-old Tony Thompson, or maybe a Bryant Jennings, who the very fight beforehand lost handedly to Vladimir Klitschko. Luis Ortiz, even before then, you see, he was fighting the Malik Scott, who got smoothed out by Derek Chisora. Malik Scott, who got hit on the gloves by Deontay Wilder and went down like he'd been shot in the head. Dave Allen, who was a prospect at the time. 0 amateur experience. Well, say 0, he had 10 amateur fights. His last fight, Christian Hammer, not exactly a big fight, was it? The fight before then against Razvan Kajanu. Daniel Dubois and Nathan Gorman have recently beaten him. I mean, listen, Luis Ortiz don't want the big fights unless it's for a title. That's just how it is. Dillian Whyte wants to fight Luis Ortiz. He's willing to fight Luis Ortiz. But ultimately, Povetkin is the bigger name. Povetkin is younger than Luis Ortiz. Povetkin has a proven resume, a proven record, former Olympic gold medalist. Luis Ortiz has never achieved anything as an amateur, never even won a area title as an amateur, never been to the Olympics, never did anything. But Povetkin won gold at the Olympics, won numerous world titles. Former world WBA champion, regular champion, but still, been in the ring with Vladimir Klitschko, has an outstanding resume of top names, dangerous fights. Luis Ortiz hasn't, but yet the Wilder fanatics want to talk about Luis Ortiz like he's the boogeyman, like he's the best thing since sliced bread. He ain't. You put Luis Ortiz in there with Alexander Povetkin, Alexander Povetkin would destroy him. So Povetkin is a much harder fight, and probably the more lucrative fight as well, considering the star status that Povetkin's got in Russia, and for the fact that he fought Joshua in the fight beforehand. And Joshua became the very first person to stop Povetkin. Even Klitschko didn't stop Povetkin. So Povetkin is a far more dangerous fight than Luis Ortiz, but I think the boxing world want to see Luis Ortiz and Dillian Whyte, because I think most people just want Dillian Whyte to shut up the Wilder fanatics, the ones who know nothing about boxing, literally nothing. All they want to do is talk about hate in things. That's all they want to do. Everyone's ducking. This person's ducking. This person's a coward. Yet the guy that they back, Wilder, is the biggest coward in the history of heavyweight boxing. The worst champion of the WBC ever. As in reigning champion. Ever. Terrible resume. But this is the guy that they back. Luis Ortiz didn't want the fight with Dillian Whyte. But they won't tell you that. They want to try and spin it like Dillian Whyte's trying to avoid it. Dillian Whyte's just told you he's offered him £2 million. What's that? $2.6 million. Ortiz is saying no. So what can you do? Anyway, I'll put the article in the description box. Of course, you drop your thoughts below on it. Click the thumbs up to this video, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next one.